Yeah.
Aaron, you had the opportunity to work, continue to work with Sterling too over the years, and I guess for you, like, did you ever pinch yourself? Because, like you said, you rooted for him in the '90s, and here you are, fast forward 2 decades, and you're handling everything media and PR for him in his racing days in Nashville. Did you ever have to pinch yourself, like, wow, I'm working with Sterling?
Oh yeah. Every time I was there, because I would go down, I would stay at his house. I would either sleep in the house or sleep in the shop. The shop had a bedroom, and I'm seeing Kodak and Coors stuff and everything through his career in the shop on the walls and everything, and then getting to know him more on a personal level, and then knowing his family too, who I still talk to all the time. Um, it's yeah, it was a surreal experience, and I was able to share that with my dad as well, and bring him down to a Nashville race and give him a tour of the shop. And then Sterling was there, and he got to meet Sterling on a little bit more of a personal level. It was a really cool thing, and that it was Sterling working with him that gave me the credibility to make the move into NASCAR, because he was still very well respected, and his touch on NASCAR. I don't think a lot of people realize how many people are in NASCAR and have a career in that sport because of him, because he gave them their first job, as it could have been just a rear tire changer or an interior guy or something. And they've gone on to do other things. And I know at the time when I was working in NASCAR, it was Brad Keselowski's interior guy who I met through Sterling. And then he went on to do great things with Brad, went on to do he left Brad and went and worked for a helmet company, and I'm not going to say who because they didn't give me any money to plug their name. So,
Fair.
but it's those kinds of relationships, and you see this guy went on to be a crew chief for Austin Dillon, and this, it was just really cool, the impact that Sterling had on all these different people, and all those people become part of your family too. So you really can't stress it enough when you say racing is a family, But yeah, dude, I still pinch myself all the time having that experience and having worked with him for 3, 4 years.
Do you remember the first time and what the first time was like meeting him?
Yeah, I do. I had driven down to his shop on a Friday night. No, Thursday night, and they were working on the cars, getting ready for testing or practice on Friday night. They would rent out the track and split the cost between a bunch of teams, right? And Zach met me, the crew chief met me at the door, and then Sterling, at first, really like the first hour I was there, paid no attention to me. And I was like, do I engage? Do I not engage? But then by the end of the weekend, we're going out for dinner, and he's telling me stories about what happened at Daytona in 2001. And that is a conversation I never thought I'd have with him. And he brought it up. I didn't. But he would get some messages occasionally on Facebook still. And Zach and I would delete those before he would read them because he reads his messages on Facebook. I don't think people realize that. And then Zach was like, "Hey, did you delete that message that came in?" And Sterling knew what we were talking about, and he told me the story. And that's some of my first memories of him. But seeing him like get on that track, and he was what 58 or something years old at that point. I can't remember, with Parkinson's obviously, and just saw him tear that car around that track. It was really cool, man. Yeah, that first race weekend really sticks with me. It was very impactful, and I mean, he was just a cool guy, just a
So
cool guy.
what led to actually going down there to be at that race? Kind of what led to you getting linked up there?
It was a one race deal. I just wanted to document him in this phase of his life and career, and I was just going to do it for one race. That's why I got there for the practice on the Friday night, um, and I wanted to capture. The assignment basically was capture him behind the scenes, capture the team behind the scenes at the shop, prepping the car, loading the car, and Sterling was always very hands-on with the car. He's under it working. He was the same way when he was a cup driver. So that was the assignment. It We had never really planned on it going past that weekend, but we all had a really fun time together, and they just made me part of the crew. after that first weekend. And before the weekend was even up, they were like, we got another race next month. You want to come out for that? I was like, hell yeah. Are you kidding me? Um, and then that was it. It just became a thing. And we posted a lot of photos on Instagram and uh, Facebook and everything, and the fans really took to it. They really loved that behind the scenes look, and in a way that I would photograph because I'm kind of artsy fartsy. It's not going to be your typical type of stock photography. And when we saw how the fans were reacting to the photos, we knew we were onto something. So I did it for me, but I also wanted to do it for his fans because his fans have stuck with him through everything. So that's how it came about. But it was really just supposed to be that one weekend.
That's pretty. I just think it's cool, Dom, that it's like this guy that you were rooting for all these years, and you get to go out and be for him. Is that, and you learn pretty quickly that if you come around a racetrack and you prove that you're able to you know do some work and help out, you tend to get a call back a lot of times and say, hey,
Yeah,
you busy next weekend? So
Yeah, if you do
yeah,
a
it's a
good
lot of what
job, you're gonna call
happens.
back.
Yeah. Is that
Yeah,
something that you had to reach out to that first time?
yeah. Um, it was a cold call essentially,
Something you were
and
like seeking to do because it was Sterling? Is that kind of how that came
that's
about?
all it was. Just
That's
because it was
awesome.
him, I
That's so
didn't really
cool.
have a drive to work in motorsports at that point. I still watched the sport, all different kinds of racing, but I didn't have on my agenda become a motorsports photographer. It just happened purely by accident. I realized that I had a knack for it. It was a different type of photography. It was something I could really sink my teeth into and be creative while providing coverage. And I, I instantly had a passion for it because two things that I really loved, motorsports and photography sort of came together. And then you have that, and you know what it's like when you work with a team and you have that bond as a team. You really start to thrive on that because it becomes, a brotherhood of sorts. And I'm still, like I said, I'm still friends with a lot of those people on that team. And anytime I go to Nashville, I try to call them up and we'll go get dinner or something like that and hang out. Uh, but it wasn't part of the plan, just like shooting people in general was never part of the plan. I wanted to shoot hotels. And then I'm shooting for Andy Dalton. That was the first like actual person that I would work with on the regular. So
that's
everything's been
snowball
on
effect.
accident. Yeah.
Total snowball effect there. And when you look at your time working with Sterling, what are some of your favorite memories or favorite stories without getting yourself in trouble that you care to share about your time working with him, especially when you were doing on a very regular, consistent basis?
Yeah. Sterling, I will say, has never changed. He's still the exact same guy. Um, he was a prankster. That didn't change. I had heard stories, and he told me stories on everybody. I got some great Earnhardt stories and everything, and I can't repeat these stories is the sad thing. But he it just goes to show that he always had a really good sense of humor, sometimes a sick and dark sense of humor, but it was always there. But I remember one time uh, at Nashville, he had qualified uh, sixth, but they put him in 16th. And there was something wrong with the system, and we knew where he qualified, and the crew chief knew, and the crew chief and the official just start going at it, and it's getting more heated, and Sterling's just standing there watching the whole thing, and I could tell he's going to interject, and it's going to be great. I'm not going anywhere, and there's a pause in the conversation, and Sterling just kind of leans in. He goes, "All right, you can put me in 16th, but when the green flag drops, I'll be in sixth." And he was. They were come around turn three and turn four, and the green flag hadn't dropped yet. And you just see Sterling come out of line and just hit it. And he's going around all the cars, and he wasn't lying. And the crew, and the officials standing there right there in front of me. I go, he told you he was going to do this. I don't know why you're surprised by this. But I mean, he did that stuff all the time. Um, and he just didn't take any crap from anybody. But a great memory was, I think it was that first year I was with him. He ended up winning the race, And I mean, he just destroyed the field. I think he had lapped everyone almost up to the top 10. And to stand in victory lane with him, I didn't shoot it. I gave my camera to somebody else. And but to stand in victory lane because I'm wearing the team shirt and everything, with him and his daughter and his wife and everything, that was a really cool moment. I just saw that photo pop up the other day on my Facebook memories, and that's a pretty special moment right there. I should have that framed in my house. I don't know why I don't.
That needs to be framed. And maybe this is putting you on the spot, but I know when we had talked years ago, you guys kind of on the same timeline. Jeff and I were working on his book. You guys were kind of
Mm-hmm.
working on a book project. How is
Mm-hmm.
that going? Or is there something still in the works in regards to a book project with Sterling Marlin?
My involvement stalled out for, I mean, a variety of reasons. The idea for the book was inspired by your work with Jeff Bodine, to be perfectly honest with you. And I thought, man, that's a really good idea. Someone needs to document Sterling. Well, as a dyslexic, let me tell you, writing a book is tough. And I am super dyslexic. But then priorities changed a little bit because my career started to change a little bit, and I didn't have the time to spend with him that I needed to make that book really move forward. He had just stopped racing, so I really wasn't going to Nashville as much. So there were just a lot of things kind of working against us, and I won't say it would never happen. It certainly could. I kept notes. I journal. To this day, I'll do a shoot with somebody and I'll journal my experience as my dad's advice, and that's great because you don't want to forget these stories and tidbits and life lessons that you learn when you have access to these individuals. So it could still happen, and I hope one day it happens. Whether I'll be involved with it or not, I don't know. I don't know. Time will tell.
I'm will tell on that. Well, and like, I could tell you from our experience with Jeff, it took 9 years, and we'd work on it, and then we wouldn't work on it. And like 2018, we kind of hit like this really good stride, and then
Yeah.
2019 we did it, and then the pandemic years kind of really pushed it along. So things do happen, and life can get in the way, and for a variety of reasons, maybe they don't. The stars don't align the way you want them or would like them to, but in
Yeah.
due time, those processes will. So, yeah, as somebody who took 9 years to piece the project together, you want to tell it right. And I know you, Aaron,
Yeah.
your name's attached, but you want to make sure that thing's told right.
Yeah, I think I left off trying to see what drivers would want to be a part. Everyone said yes except for one. Um, and I won't say who it was, but I will say if you watched racing in the 90s, specifically 95, you can probably figure it out. No, it might have been 96. Just watch races those 2 years and you can probably figure out who didn't want to take part. Um, But yeah, I'll never say never. I really hope it can happen. I feel better now. I didn't know it took you 9 years.
Took a long time.
So that makes me feel a little bit better about the situation. Um, but if it does happen and it's under someone else's umbrella, I think I could still at least be of some value and contribute what I know and photographs and things like that.
You
Oh,
know what
yeah,
they say, guys. Perfection takes time.
That's
it
right.
does. It
Yeah.
does. Yeah. Great Wall of China was not built overnight. It takes time to make these
Yeah.
things happen.